Welcome back to Techstrong Unplugged. My name is Cassandra Chin, and today we have Kaitlyn Hornbuckle.
Hi there, I'm here at KubeCon from Oregon State University.
So let's hear about some of your stories of how you got into technology.
Oh, I can talk all day about that. I originally went to a completely different university and I studied journalism and media production because I was really into content creation at the time. And I recognized there was a divide between communicating really difficult concepts, and I wanted to help figure out how to merge technology and communication together. So I was always interested in technology my entire life. I always solved IT issues in my journalism class when the printer broke and when my friends would have problems with just different glitches on their computers happening. So I've always been into technology, but when I did the journalism and media production program, I did enjoy it at first, but it wasn't really challenging enough for me. However, I did learn a lot of really, really good skills as far as how to communicate concepts. I got a lot better at my content creation skills. It really opened up the door to learning what type of equipment I need, trying to figure out how to raise enough money in order to just get started with the bare minimum with content creation. And from there, I went on to do the computer science program and completely switched. So by the time I graduate, which will be in about 2 years, I'll have it's going to be close to 300 credits by the time I graduate, which is kind of ridiculous, but here we are. I did learn a lot though, so I feel very prepared. So essentially, when I took the computer science program, there were a few things that happened. So I would say going into computer science was extremely difficult for me. I had never coded before. I had worked with the Scratch program a little bit, but that was about it. I didn't do any other programming at all. So just blocks and then 3D modeling, but again, no coding. So when I was in my first computer science class, I struggled immensely. I definitely had some nights where I was crying over my Yahtzee project because I had so many bugs, and it was really funny. Something that I kind of wish that I had going in was that I had more connections. I had made more friends to learn with, because at the time I was very isolated. And I was even more isolated because when I joined the computer science program, a few months later, the pandemic happened, the COVID-19 pandemic. So talk about really being isolated, right? And that experience, though, was really good for me in a lot of ways, because I ended up working with an education technology company at the time, and that was when my knowledge of how you can use technology to help people really skyrocketed. Because something that I felt in my classes was it focused a lot on technical content and trying to, get the right answer and get your code working, but there was less focus on community, like how to actually use the technology to make a difference or to help a community or to solve a real world problem, which is something that I felt like was missing. And that was what had driven me to journalism to begin with. So when I saw that outside of academia, it was possible to use technology to actually make a difference, I started to get deeper into that in the work field, even though I didn't get my degree yet. So I worked full time with them for a little bit, took some time off of school. And then I ended up transferring to another university because I just felt like I wasn't learning what I needed to be learning. The quality of the content just wasn't there for me, and it just wasn't a great fit for what I was looking for. So that's when I transferred to Oregon State University, and I'm on the cybersecurity track now. And boy, I am learning so much more now than I did a couple years ago. And technology is changing so fast now that it's almost hard to keep up. Like sometimes some of the courses don't keep up. And so sometimes I have to do a lot of research outside just to make sure I can continue to keep up with what's being taught in the class, but also what's happening in industry, because sometimes those don't match.
Usually they don't.
Yeah, it's really funny though. But it does challenge students to find a way to be able to learn how academia views the engineering field and how industry views it, because they are very, very different things. Something else that I'm noticing too is that there's a big divide between science and engineering. I usually see people either in one or the other, but not necessarily both.
Computer science or computer engineering.
Right. Well, not even that, but when people do computer science, sometimes you're missing the sciences like biology, physics, chemistry, because those all play a role in technology as well. But you don't really get to learn that in the computer science field. It's strictly tech. And that's something that I think is really missing, because we have we have pharma industries right now that are trying to use AI and ML models to work with massive amounts of data that they're having trouble analyzing to be able to make good decisions for our health. And I feel like that there is a divide between science and engineering, because it just feels like industries like sciences and sometimes education industry tries to take what they're seeing from industry, but because they don't have people from industry heavily involved, it could turn into a mess. So that's just my observations, though.
Argue that like in computer science they teach you all the coding fundamentals.
Yeah.
But once you graduate, like you can basically go into a whole different industry and
Right, exactly.
scientist.
Yes, you definitely can. But I think it would be like easier though if you had some of the like for example, if you wanted to work in a biology field, if you had no classes in biology whatsoever, trying to get into that field is going to be really tough. Especially when competing against people who maybe have a biology minor and a computer science degree, that would really set them up for it. But I definitely agree that as a computer science major, you can do a ton of different things. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I joined it too, because I didn't want to be stuck in just one field. I wanted to be able to adapt this degree to a variety of different fields. So yeah, what are your feelings on science versus engineering though?
Honestly, I always felt like computer science was more software and computer engineering is more hardware.
Yeah.
But like they go together. I don't actually know why we have to divide it like that.
I agree. I know some students, they learn how to use CAD programs in computer engineering, but the computer science department doesn't teach that, at least in my experience, which is crazy because I want to learn how 3D printers work. I mean, that's important to be able to program those, but I have to do that on my own time. There's no classes that teach me that.
I've seen some colleges where they've just merged the computer science and computer engineering track.
Oh, really? That's really cool.
I'm not sure if they're doing it for good intentions or if they're trying to save resources.
Fair. I feel like computer engineering feels more mathematical heavy, and you have to know some physics in it as well to be able to understand how the computer parts interact. But with computer science, it's all just software, so all that's abstracted. So I almost feel like there's less math involved, less math and physics in computer science versus computer engineering. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that there's some schools combining the two, though, because I think that's definitely the right direction. Because when you only have computer science, computer engineering, and they're separate, you're missing, like, one is either missing software, one is missing the engineering and science part of it, right? So it's really good to have both. What have been your experiences in your computer science courses? Like, do you feel like you're learning what you need to do to be successful in the industry?
I feel like they mainly just teach me how to code. But it's like very old style. They don't teach me how to like integrate my code with modern development tools and like definitely no AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they tell us not to use AI or else we'll get like a punishment of some sort.
Yep, I definitely have taken some classes where if you use an AI tool, they won't let you pass the class. So yeah, I've experienced that myself. It's really weird though, because some classes are okay with it. So you have to really look at each individual syllabi of each class, because every professor feels different about it. I personally feel like if we can learn how to use AI to to not cheat or not not to just have it do stuff for us, but have it be an assistant, like learn how to use AI responsibly, because it's not really going away, and we can either ignore it or we can use it.
It's the search engine.
Right, exactly. Or when the calculator was invented. We used to have to do all calculations manually, but when the calculator came out, made a lot of operations a lot easier to do. So yeah, it's an experience for sure.
Do you want to talk about your experience teaching Kids Day?
I would love to talk about that. So yeah, at the Kids Day event at QCon on Sunday, that was a lot of fun. I got to help teach Minecraft modding to kids, and a lot of them hadn't coded Java before. And a lot of them hadn't played Java Edition before. Minecraft Java Edition, at least in my experience when I've taught kids before, a lot of them are more familiar with Bedrock Edition. And I think one of the reasons for that is because it's more accessible to more people, because you can play Bedrock Edition on tablets, phones, computers, gaming consoles, it's all merged together, whereas Java Edition is only on the computer. So for a lot of them, it was their first time learning the WASD keys, which is really, it's a common combination for gaming, but it was really cool to be able to share that. And then also share how to manipulate their code to be able to make their ideas come to life in front of them on the computer screen. And it really helped a lot. Something that I learned, though, was it could be really easy to lose their attention if you go too deep too fast. However, you want to be careful with this because you still want them to learn something at the end of it. So keeping that in mind, I just remembered that they had never coded before. And so some of the basics that they're going to see in every mod are going to be the same, and it's going to be repetitive. So something that I focused on was getting them familiar with the process of loading code into the Eclipse IDE, learning how to build and run it so that it's executed into the Minecraft instance. They can play around, then they exit it. So it follows the process of when you pull code into your project, you make changes, you compile it, run it, execute it, close the executable, and then just redo the process. So I really honed that in this time when we taught it, and the kids had it pretty much memorized by the end of the class, which was really great because that's one fundamental that I find can be really tough for kids to learn, especially when they use a computer for the first time. And the other thing that I did too was every mod that we loaded in, I would explain what it did, and every time I did, I highlighted just little parts of the code so they know what parts that controlled. So, for example, for spawning potatoes, if they put the magic word potato in the chat, and I always said magic word to get them excited, because if I just say, oh yeah, if you type this random word, it just doesn't sound as exciting. So I just highlighted potatoes and I said, okay, this is the magic word. If you change this, then when you type that, it's going to spawn 64 potatoes. But if you want more than 64 potatoes, change that number. I had several students put in 10,000 potatoes.
Also, encourage them to modify the code.
Exactly. Without having to say, okay, line 1 does this, line 2 does this, line 3 does this. I just focused on the most important parts so that they could still modify that. And if they get stuck, the other kids still have something to work with. Because that's another problem, is if I go too deep too fast, then I can have 3 students that are stuck on trying to customize their code, but then the other students don't know how to move forward yet. And so then they end up just playing Minecraft. So I tried to remedy that by having them all know how to load in each mod. And then by the end, when we had extra time, I helped them with trying to change their code and with showing them an easy way to change it. Throughout, when they did customize it, a lot of them didn't get stuck because they weren't trying to change the whole thing. They were just trying to change a couple words to see what happened.
Yeah, I walked in on your workshop and that was the most focused I've ever seen the kids.
Really? Oh, I'm super glad to hear that. Yeah, it seemed like they had a lot of fun. I definitely tried to keep them on their toes too so they didn't get bored, and hopefully programming is a lot more exciting for them now than when they first walked in.
Do you have any future plans for kids' workshops?
So I do want to talk to the curricula developers a little bit because I want to figure out how to update the Minecraft curricula for next year's KubeCon in London. So I'm looking at that currently right now. Something about the Minecraft modding workshop is it's a little bit outdated. It was perfect for this weekend, but I want to try to find something that the kids can relate to a little bit more. I'm going to look into maybe how to mod in Bedrock Edition, since that's the version they're familiar with. Because then when they make mods, they can share it with their friends. With Java Edition, a lot of the kids don't have Java Edition themselves. Or unfamiliar about how to use it, or how to set it up themselves. So I want to try to figure out how to make it more relatable. And then I also really want to look into how to implement a Roblox workshop, because that's something that I haven't seen yet. And that's something that I'm really passionate about, is Roblox game design. I do that just as a hobby outside of academia and work. So I'm looking into getting involved with curricular development more, teaching more, because that's something I'm really, really passionate about. I just have to make sure I can talk to the right people and get ideas rolling for that.
I'm really excited about your idea to do Minecraft Bedrock.
Yeah?
Where the little kids are at now.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it too, because I know there's this software too called Blockbench where you can create your own mobs and your own items. And I already had some kids in the workshop this past Sunday ask, oh, hey, can we make our own items or our own animals? And I said, oh, okay, that would be for Bedrock. Because I wasn't familiar how to do that with Java quite yet, because it's both versions are a completely different process. But I did refer them to Blockbench, because that tool makes it a lot easier to be able to change those. And a lot of them are familiar with content creators that use Bedrock Edition too and modify Bedrock Edition on there. Every content creator I've seen in Minecraft using Minecraft right now, if they're playing Minecraft, it's usually Java Edition. But when they're playing on customized worlds, I'm seeing more and more Bedrock Edition. So yeah, it excites me too. I don't know too much about it yet, so I have to do some research, but I'm really excited because I play Bedrock version myself. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what you create and come up with at KubeCon London.
Yeah, I hope I can get it started. And I'm hoping that since I'm already starting to get involved now, like a whole year in advance, that I hope we can make it happen. So yeah,
We've
I'm
had a
excited.
great chat. Thank you, Kaitlyn.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.